Welcome to the 25th Annual Spirit and Place Festival, the nation's only arts, humanities, and religion festival. My name is Erin Kelly, and I'm the Program Director for Spirit and Place. We know this year's festival is different than other years, but you're here, we're here, and that's what matters. We'd like to begin this festival with a new practice. That is acknowledging that we are standing on the traditional homelands of the Miami, Potawatomi, Shawnee, and others, people who were unjustly removed from this land. Our origin story as a community begins with them. We also want to thank our sponsors who help make the festival possible.
Namaste, my name is Rishma Chauhan.
And my name is Sri Pravata. We are your hosts for today's event. We'd like to thank all of our participants and organizers for putting this program together and everyone who has joined this afternoon.
Just to go over some basic housekeeping, please keep yourself on mute and keep your video off. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat and we will address them at the end, time permitting.
We have an event survey that would be sent periodically in the chat, so please take a few minutes to fill it out.
And here at the temple, we are taking all necessary COVID precautions such as masks and social distancing. In this first segment, you're invited to experience the sound, the vibration of Om in your physical being. Please welcome Melissa Moran, a yoga instructor at Santosha School, who will lead you in a practice of chanting Om.
Namaste, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the Spirit and Place event, Om, the origin of all. As a chairperson of the Hindu Temple of Central Indiana, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the premises of the temple. During these uncharted times, we are all learning to make use of the technology to our best advantage. As you can see, we are all interacting on a virtual platform. The event is actually right now being hosted from the premises of the temple with a few of us on site and few of us off site, following the COVID-19 guidelines of social distancing and wearing a mask. HTCI is located on the east side of town and has been in existence for the last 15 years. It was our pleasure to host the Spirit and Place event in 2019 on site and take great pride in being part of the event again this year with a few partners. HTCI is honored to share the platform with Santosha Yoga School as a co-host for the event. Santosha means contentment, and you will see that reflected in today's program as they lead us through the meaning of different layers of Om. Our other partners are Nityangan Kathak Academy, a dance school dedicated to the classical form of Indian dance, Kathak. You will get to know more about the school as we move forward in the program from its founding director, Dr. Anandita Singh. You will also have the opportunity to experience Om through the dance form. Another partner is Clay and Canvas, who will help us experience Om through another art form, which will be a hands-on activity, and you should have received the instructions in the email. In the Hindu tradition, the sound of Om is said to contain the entire universe. It is the first sound from the beginning of time, and it also encompasses the present and the future. As such, its importance and power are difficult to overstate. It is also a seed syllable used as a building block for other mantras. Chanting Om or A-U-M is a sacred practice that helps our mind and body to energize. Sound of Om is considered sacred not only in Hinduism, but Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism. According to the Hindu sculptures, Om connects all living beings to nature and the universe. Now, without much ado, I would like to turn on the baton to our moderators, Shri Parvata and Rishma Chauhan, who are our very dedicated youth volunteers at the Hindu Temple of Central Indiana. They are the leaders of our future, and we are very happy and excited to see such dedication from them. Thank you.
Here at the temple, we are taking all the necessary COVID precautions while broadcasting, such as masks and social distancing. In this first segment, you are invited to experience the sound, the vibration of Om in your physical being. Please welcome Melissa Morgan, a yoga instructor at the Santosha School, who will lead you in the practice of chanting Om.
Thank you, Shri and Rishma. It's wonderful to be here and wonderful to be with all of you virtually on Zoom today to experience the sound of Om, experience the vibration of Om. In my introduction, you may have heard the word yoga instructor. Wondering what you thought of when you heard the word yoga. You might picture someone on the mat, doing some exercises, practicing postures, maybe twisting themselves into some crazy position. Yoga is a Sanskrit word, and the word means union, specifically union with the divine, union with our creator. In addition to the asana, the posture practice that yoga brings to nurture our physical bodies, yoga also has practices to nourish our spiritual selves. And chanting is one way, a very powerful way to nurture our spiritual beings. Om, as Anita mentioned, is a very special chant. Going to open our practice with a prayer from Yogananda that describes Om. It's called Om, the heartbeat of creation. And I will say it slowly with a pause, so any of you at home who want to repeat along, there will be a place for you to join in. O omnipresent sound of Om, Amen. Reverberate through me, expanding my mind from the body to the universe. Teach me to feel in thee the immortal heartbeat of creation. So one version of Om that we teach at Santosha's school is called Udgita, the upward song. And we break Om into the 3 syllables, A, U, and experience the vibration as it moves from the lower part of our body up through the crown of our head. Each part of the sound resonates in a different part of our body. So if you're at home, this is a time for you to gather any of your family members or friends who are with you to chant Om in unison. Really lifts the vibration, really increases the intensity of the experience. So draw your family in close if they're there with you. We're going to practice together. So find a place where you can sit and sit with a long, tall spine. Your seat rooted into your chair and the crown of your head reaching up to the heavens. And this is the posture we want to practice. The first sound, ah, bring the palms of your hands face up on your lap and draw the tip of your index finger and thumb together. The sound ah resonates in your belly, the part of you that helps you feel grounded and connected to the earth. We'll chant ah together 3 times. Inhale. Ah. 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 Second sound, ooh. Draw your other 3 open fingers into your palms. The second sound, ooh, it resonates behind your heart and your throat. It's the emotional and energetic part of your being. We'll chant ooh together 3 times. Inhale. Ooh. 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 The third sound, Wrap all of your fingers around your thumbs, drawing your awareness inward. Resonates through gently clenched teeth, massaging your brain, your pituitary gland, through the crown of your head, the place of intuition, our connectedness to the higher power, the higher being. We'll chant together 3 times. Return your palms to the open position and draw your thumb and index fingertips back together. Now we'll chant Om, connecting A, U, and adding a pause, a silence as a fourth sound. And we'll chant together. I'll lead you through a series. I'll give you a cue when we're on our last Om. And then we'll pause for a few moments to see what resonance or vibration you might still be able to explore in your physical being. Deep inhale. Last. Draw your hands back to heart center, and we'll close with the Om prayer. O omnipresent sound of Om, Amen, reverberate through me, expanding my mind from the body to the universe. Teach me to feel in thee the immortal heartbeat of creation. Namaste.
Perhaps you've wondered how Om relates to the Hindu faith or other faith traditions. Anita Joshi of the Hindu Temple of Central Indiana is here to share her knowledge of Om as the sacred origin of vibration and the sound across multiple faiths. Anita leads tours of the temple for non-Hindu visitors to try and grow their understanding of Hinduism. Having been born and raised in the United States, Anita has a deep personal understanding of the experiences Hindu children face growing up and balancing two cultures.
Namaste. As I am significantly distanced from the rest of my colleagues, I will go ahead and remove my mask. I want to start by saying that rishis and munis for millennia have devoted their entire lives to an understanding of Om. And so I do not deign to begin to think that I'm going to be able to explain to you all the intricacies of Om. But what I would like to provide is a little bit of an introduction and an understanding as to how Om migrated its abilities into other cultures and other nations and other time periods. So with that, I will share my screen. The understanding of Om comes from the understanding of Hinduism, which is the oldest religion in the world still in practice today. It dates back 5000 BC, and the sound of Om is at the very origins of Hinduism. As we will see, understanding of this ancient concept and symbol has migrated into many cultures in many unique ways. The original concept of Om is what we will try to discuss first. The resonant sound of Om holds within the symbol many meanings. Many Hindus contend that if you can understand Om, you can understand the connection between yourself and divinity, the concept of consciousness, and all that is contained within it that is needed for creation. The sound of Om is the sound that emanated, according to Hindus, when the world was created. The creation of the sound and the reverberation of that sound itself is what caused the creation. The sound continues today to expand throughout the universe and continues to progress in creation. The sound itself is pure, as you heard demonstrated earlier by our wonderful colleagues from Santosha Yoga Studio. The sound is produced with only the use of air and no use of the tongue at all. The symbol of Om also contains within it an understanding of the states of consciousness. It represents everything in the universe, known and unknown. We must pass through these different states of consciousness in deep meditation in order to merge into the absolute understanding of divinity. So Om is actually a representation of divinity and our states of consciousness in connecting to that ultimate state. The written word represents these consciousnesses in three main ways. The largest portion of the Om at the bottom represents the wakefulness state. You see it all, the above section of Om represents the deep sleep state. And then we also have a representation of the dream state. It is in transcending these states that we merge into the absolute silence that you heard at the end of the utterance of Om. And just as the sound of Om itself is a universal sound and found in all languages and uttered by all people, so too are pieces of the understanding of Om found in many other cultures and explored by many other religious scholars. The Celts were actually an ancient culture that existed in Europe in 1200 BC. They believed that the world was sustained by an all-encompassing melody that they called the Oran Mor. It is a sound and a power, something that can be felt inside as well as heard outside, and it is heard within the wind. It is described, as you see here, as the beginning of all life, and we know it was uttered as an ancient sounding. The sounding moved outward from a central point of being and continues to hurl throughout space and time, manifesting as a complex matrix of interconnections. We are part of this divine unfolding. And so it is our collective lineage and our collective story. It is often described by many people as the voice of God. The Navajo described a force and a sound known as Nalichi. It suffuses all of nature. It is responsible for giving life, thought, speech, and power of motion to all living things. It is also felt that this is present at the time of birth in the folds of an infant's ear, and it is that sound of air that guides the child in the right direction throughout their life. As we move from the historical to and the ancient to the modern, a newer faith explored this understanding of the sound and explained it as the Word of God. In the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So again, representing the concept that there is a connection between the sound and the divine. Scholars have debated the importance of this understanding, and oftentimes we've heard that American Christianity seems to have left that pursuit and to the mystics and not actually explored its deeper and greater meaning. But European Christians and Christian mystics have discussed this in much more detail. Hildegard of Bingen, 12th century Catholic nun, spoke about, she was actually a woman in the church who was given a distinction of being doctor, which at that time was a title reserved for very few. She was known for her mysticisms and her visions of the greatness of divinity, and she spoke of how all living creatures are sparks of the divine. And she describes that the sound of God resonates in every creature, and felt that it was a holy sound that all the universe could hear. We move into the modern understanding of science. And in fact, the understanding of science and religion are critical in Hinduism. Hinduism has always melded the two, spirituality and science. They are not at odds. And in fact, NASA's attempt in the 1960s and 70s to find some understanding of this sound is a little bit of something I want to bring up today in our discussion. In 2018, recently, NASA released the sound of the sun. He said, "The sun is not silent. The low pulsing hum of the star's heartbeat has allowed us to peer inside the understanding of the beginning of the star. So many have postulated perhaps that was the sound of Om." But back, as I alluded, into the 1970s, they were looking to also measure the remnants of the Big Bang, which they were able to record. And you can hear those recordings even today on NASA's site. And it discusses the origins of the universe. So it's interesting to try and discover these origins of our universe, and understanding of Om brings us to those origins. The oldest religion still practiced today has always contained within it an understanding of the cosmos. As Carl Sagan, the famous astrophysicist, once said, "The Hindu religion is the only of the world's great faiths dedicated to the idea that the cosmos itself undergoes an immense number of deaths and rebirths. It is the only religion in which the time scales correspond directly to those of modern scientific cosmology. The understanding of the origins of our universe and the origins of everything we know and do not know are represented in the understanding of Om. It is at the very origin of all of us and our connection to divinity." Thank you.
Om is vibration, energy. Next, we welcome this opportunity to experience Om as a movement through a beautiful dance. Anindita Sen is the founder and artistic director of the Nityangang Kathak Academy and will introduce the performance of these dancers.
Hello, I hope you all can hear me and see me. I'm Anindita Sen, and I'm the founder and artistic director of Nityangan Kathak Academy. It's an Indian classical dance school located in Carmel, Indiana, and we've been in existence for almost 15 years now. The mission of our academy is to promote diversity and to educate the Central Indiana community in this beautiful North Indian classical dance form. We actively participate in many community events, and we are delighted to be a part of this event today. What we are going to present today is a Kathak choreography to a song composed none other than Ravi Shankar, who is considered to be one of the geniuses of Indian classical music. He was the one who put Indian classical music on the world map. The song is Mangalam, and there are many interpretations of the word Mangalam, but the one that is most relevant for this dance is blessings. And through this dance, the objective is to bless this earth, the inhabitants of the earth, and everything, which helps us tie this back to the concept of Om, or where everything started from. So through this dance, we are going to bless the sun, the earth, the moon, the body, the mind, everything. We hope that you enjoy our rendition of Mangalam through Kathak. Thank you.
Yogamangalam, Agnimangalam, Agnimangalam, Vayumangalam, Vayumangalam, Gaganamangalam, Gaganamangalam, Suryamangalam, Suryamangalam, Chandramangalam, Chandramangalam, Jagatmangalam, Jagatmangalam, Jivamangalam, Jivamangalam, Dehamangalam, Dehamangalam, Manomangalam, Manomangalam, Atmamangalam, Atmamangalam, Sarvamangalam, Bhavatu, 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 Sarvamangalam, Bhavatu, 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 Sarvamangalam, Bhavatu, Bhavatu, Bhavatu.
Thank you to the Nityangan Kathak Academy for that beautiful interpretation. When practiced with intention and reverence, Om helps us find the quiet, peaceful place inside where we can experience that divine presence which humans so deeply seek. Sheila Dymoff is a lead trainer at Santosha School. In this next segment, Sheila will lead us in chanting and interpreting Patanjali Yoga Sutras on Om, then guide us through an Om chant and meditation.
Following are 3 verses from an ancient text on yoga called Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. I'll leave a little space after each word so that you can feel free to call and respond if you'd like. Tasya, Pachaka, Anava. The Holy Spirit has a sound, and this sound is the sound of Om, which is also called Pranava. Tajapas, Tadartha, Bhavanam. By repeating this sound of Om, I come to know its meaning, or the meaning becomes revealed. Tata Pratyak Chetana Adigama Apyantara Abhavanascha. And from this repetition of the sound of Om comes the mastery of inward directed consciousness and the annihilation of all inner hindrances. So now together we can chant the cosmic sound of Om 3 times. And then we'll allow that to lead us into a period of silence. And I'll guide you into that. So feel free to join in for 3 Oms. Closing your eyes, let your eye muscles relax. Sitting up tall, begin to trace your breath up and down your spine. Slow down your breath, letting any thought waves also slow down. Inwardly, allow all outer sounds melt into one cosmic sound as you repeat internally the sound of Om.
After learning about Om, practicing Om, and seeing the beautiful interpretive dance of Om, you are invited to create your own version of Om. Clay and Canvas teaches unique art forms. They have hosted art events for nonprofit organization and senior living communities. We want to introduce Kalpana Nayak from Clay and Canvas, who will guide us today in creating an artwork in line with today's theme, Om. Please welcome Kalpana for our art session.
Namaste, welcome to Clay and Canvas. In today's session, we are going to make an Om symbol out of homemade clay. Before we start our art project, I would like to talk about the significance of having an Om symbol at our home or a workplace. The Om symbol brings positivity, peace, prosperity, and good luck. First, we will be making homemade clay. Supplies needed to make the homemade clay are all-purpose flour. If you don't have all-purpose flour, you can use wheat or corn flour. You would also need water, salt, oil, any variety of oil, measuring cup, and some measuring spoons. Here I have a bowl to mix my supplies in. First, we will be adding 1/4 cup of salt, next, I will be adding 1/4 cup of water. Take a fork and we will be stirring the salt until it's slightly dissolved. Then I will be adding 1/2 cup of flour and 1 tablespoon of oil. And we are going to stir in all the ingredients together. Once we have stirred with the fork, we are going to use our hands to make the dough. If the dough is too liquidy, you can add a little flour. And we are just going to mix it until it forms into a Play-Doh consistency. If the dough is sticking to your fingers, you can sprinkle some flour and take it off from your fingers and mix the dough. Here the dough is formed completely smooth to a non-sticky consistency, and it does not stick to my hands, as you can see. It is perfect, so we are going to do the next step. The next step is to shape the dough. You will need a microwavable plate to put the dough in the microwave. If you don't have a microwave, you can make the project and air dry for 4 to 5 days and then paint it. But today we will be using the microwave. Now let's roll the dough into a ball. And we are going to take out a small portion of the dough about size of a lemon or a lime and put it on the side. And the big dough that we have, we will be using this as our base to make our Om symbol. Take the base and make it to any shape you like. I'm going to make a circle, but you can shape it to any shape of your choice. I'm making the thickness of a sandwich bread, but you can make it the thickness of your choice. But just don't do it too thin, it might crack or break. These are some examples of how the end product will look like. As you can see, the first one, I took a marker and I did circles on the end with the cap. And on the second one, I just took a fork and I pressed it down on the edges. I'm going to do the fork today to press down the edges, but you can do any design of your choice and do the edges only, because we will be placing the Om symbol right here in the center. So just do the edges. Take a pencil and make a hole on the top so we can hang it when it dries. Be making the Om symbol in the center. I want to show you how the Om symbol looks like. The number 3 has 2 equal parts, but for Om, the top part is slightly smaller than the bottom, and the bottom part is wider. This is how the Om symbol looks like. To do this part of the Om, we will be using our pencil, and I'm going to just poke out a small shape to form an Om. And it curves out a bit. This is how it looks. Then we still need to do the other part of the Om. I will show you in the paper. The other part of the Om, for the other part of the Om, we are going to draw a circle slightly below the center and leave a gap here. Do not connect the circle, just leave a gap. Once we are done with this, we are going to go to our Om symbol here on the art project, and we are going to start making slightly below this middle part. I'm going to make a circle with my pencil, and I'm going to leave it open. I'm not going to connect it. To make a mistake, it's okay. If to make mistakes, you can dip your finger in the water and you can go back and fix it with your pencil. Once we are done with this part of the Om, we need to do the top part of the Om, which I would like to show you on the paper first before we do it here. Above this O formation that we tried to do, we are going to make a curve here, and we are going to make a dot here, and our Om is completed. We are going to do this same thing on our base. I'm going to do a curve with my pencil, just poke and make small shape of a curve, and then I'm going to make a dot here, and our Om is completed. Now the next, the small portion of the dough that we had saved earlier, we are going to use this to roll it like a snake, and we will be placing this over our Om. Before we place this over the Om, we will use our paint brushes. You can use any size of the paintbrush you would like. I just have few sizes here. We are going to dip in the water, and then I'm just going to put some water over the pencil marks that we made earlier, and also on the curve and the dot. Now we will be placing the small portion of this dough that we had rolled into a snake shape. We are going to place this and go over our Om. Gently we are going to place it and shape it into an Om shape. Just go around it, and any extra you can just take it off with your hands. Just break it. And we are going to make it, the end part is going to be kind of pointy, and the middle part is going to be kind of like this. It's going to be flat here. So once we are done with this, I'm going to pinch the top just to give like a three-dimensional look. It will look like a 3D art once it's ready. So I just want to pinch the top part of the Om. Now we are going to do curve. I'm going to make the curve. So I'm going to put my dough here, and the inner part that's facing the Om is going to be pointy, and the outside part that is facing the edges is going to be flat. So I'm going to just pinch it on the top just like we did earlier, and just make the edge flat and the end pointy. After this, we are going to just take a small piece of the dough and make the dot on the top. I'm just going to place it here and just push it down with your finger. Now we are going to do this part of the Om. So I'm going to take my dough. Again, I'm going to take small portion and roll it out just like a snake. And I'm going to place it on the dots that I made earlier and just go around. And the edge here is going to be, again, it's going to have a pointy edge. So just make it pointy and just pinch the top just like we did for the other part of the Om. Once we are done with this, we are going to do the same thing for the top curve and the dot. So I'm taking another small piece of the dough, and I'm going to, and this is how our Om looks like. The next step would be, we are going to put this on the microwave for 40 seconds. If you do not have a microwave, you can let this project air dry for 4 to 5 days and then paint it and hang it on the wall. But now we are going to microwave this Om in the microwave for 40 seconds. Until that cooks, I want to talk to you about the paints. You can use watercolors or acrylic colors or metallic colors or any colors you like. If you are using watercolors, the tempera paints, the watercolors, these are really good. But just don't add water to these because these are already liquidy and they are just ready to paint. I prefer using the acrylic colors because once you paint, the texture really comes out good, and also it looks really glossy once you're done painting. Let's check on our Om project. So now I just see it is cooked a bit, but I still want it to dry completely, so I'm going to put it again. We are going to take it out and let it cool and then put it back and cook for another 40 seconds. Until that cooks, we can talk about the paints. You can also use metallic paints of your choice and paint any color you would like your Oms. So our Om is almost ready. Let's check if it's done. So I see here that the outer layer is kind of dried and the middle part is still kind of wet and kind of a rubber texture. So I'm going to put it back in for another 40 seconds. You can use any kind of paint brushes you liked to paint your Om. And I have used my metallic colors here to paint my Om with the acrylic. And here I used the watercolor without adding any water. I just used my tempera paints, this orange without water, and I just brushed it with my paintbrush without adding water, and then I used my acrylic color to paint on the Om. You can put at least 2 or 3 coats to make your Om look glossy. We are now going to check on our Om. So now I see the edges are kind of dried, but still it's not dried completely. It's still kind of wet. So I'm going to put it back in for another 40 seconds. So until that cooks, hopefully once it's done, you should see that it's sliding off the plate. Only when it's sliding off the plate easily, that means it is cooked. So we are going to see whether it's dried or not now. Mostly the middle part of the Om takes a while to dry. Right here, the center part, if you see the back here, see? The center part takes a while to dry, at least 4 or 5 days to dry. The edges cooks very quickly in the microwave. That's the reason I wanted to use the microwave today, so I can show you the painted Om. So let's see if our Om is ready. The edges are kind of, I can see it's easily sliding off. That means it's ready to paint, but it's not done yet. But we can get started with painting, and after 4 or 5 days, when it's completely dried from the center right here, we will hang it on the wall. Right now you cannot hang it on the wall, but we will just paint it and let it dry for 4 to 5 days completely. So then it's ready to hang on the wall. Each one has different microwave settings, so just check to see that if it slides off easily from the sides, that means it is ready to paint. And we are going to slide it onto the paper, and we are going to put this over the plate. And this is going to get painted now. The Om project that we did in any color of your choice, I'm going to do my background red. How my base looks, I painted red, and you can do your background any color of your choice. And now I'm going to do the symbol into a golden shape. I'm going to paint my Om symbol into golden shade. Please don't add water to your paints, just use them as is. This is how I have painted my Om into a golden paint, and usually the background should be different from the Om symbol, so that way it's popping out and looks beautiful when you put it on the wall. And we are going to put a string here after 4 to 5 days when this is completely dry. You can see it's a little wet now, but once it's completely dry, you can put some thread here. Here are some varieties of strings that I have. You can use any yarn colors. You can use a baker's twine, a golden thread, or even a natural hay to hang your art. Thank you for participating today in this Om making project. I hope you enjoyed it. And here is my Om that we made today. Please do share your pictures of Om on my Facebook page or my email address. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you all for joining us today. We also have, please put all of your questions in the chat and remember to fill out the event survey that was sent. I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Anita Gupta to close up our program.
Thank you everyone for joining us in this session of Om, the origin of for all. If there are any questions, we are all here to take any questions. So please feel free to put them in the chat box. Otherwise, we will definitely be able to answer your questions even after. If you have anything, send them through the Spirit and Place. I'd like to thank Santosha Yoga School, Nrityangan Kathak Academy, Clay and Canvas, and for being our partners and for putting this wonderful program. Thanks to Dr. Joshi, Anita Joshi, for helping us understand Om. Before we close, we would like to we would like to close with Om. So I would like to turn it over to Melissa, who would do the honors of closing with the Om.
Rishma, I need you to open the video. Oh, there we go. Thank you all for spending this afternoon with us. Thank you for joining together, all of us who are here at the Hindu temple. And bring your hands to heart center. We'll close with one Om all together. Take the peace with you today. Namaste.
Namaste.